Tougher Together Tuesday on a Tuesday night. And the quote is always good. So here's one for you. It's good to have money and the things that money can buy. But it's good to check up once in a while and make sure that you haven't lost the things that money can't buy. I remember they used to say, money can't buy you love. Now, on tonight, my topic is, does a man have to make a whole lot of money to actually be in a relationship? Let's get to it. Hey, and don't forget to like, share, drop a comment, and depending on where you're actually watching this, you can actually subscribe to my channel. But as always, too, make sure you check out my website. But let's get to the video. Okay, something that a lot of single people ask themselves, and I'll probably relate this more so in terms of women. In terms of this, because this is something that's always brought up, is how much money is this guy actually bringing in? Is he bringing in six figures? And if he's not bringing six figures, like the song would go with Sweetie, six figures, that's my type. So, a lot of people put a lot of emphasis in how much people actually make, and that being a man. And if he's not making a whole lot of money, they may say, hey, you know what, this is not the actual guy for me, and this is what I can't actually do at this time, which I can agree and disagree with those type of things, because for one, if you have certain goals or things that you actually want to do, it may not actually work for you to be with someone who is at a lower paying rate than what you would actually like or what you desire to actually be at in your life. There's certain lifestyles that you may have, and a lot of people may not actually fit that. Now, the only problem with that in terms of looking for a male is that if the average U.S. salary for a male is $67,969. Now, this is according to studies as far as the average salary of a male in the U.S. right now. Now, that doesn't include those who may be not white, and the reason why I bring that up, oftentimes people will say race doesn't actually matter, but in a lot of cases it actually does. Depending on what race you actually are, you may make less money than a lot of other races. So if you're someone who looks like myself, you may be making less than that on an average, and in most cases it says that if you do look melanin like myself, you may be making $51,329 as your annual salary. So that means that you probably make a lot less money than your white counterparts, and then that's actually the minimum amount that people actually make. So in most cases, those people probably make less than that. So this is just saying like, hey, on a kind of like average. So that doesn't mean that everybody is actually average, and a lot of them are most likely below average. So that means that they probably make less than 51,000 a year. Now, as far as my topic on tonight, does that mean that they are not qualified to actually date or to be in a marriage at some point in some time? And I would definitely say no, this shouldn't disqualify someone for being able to actually go out and date and be able to actually meet someone and hopefully maybe marry someone. Because just because their pocketbooks are not as big as others doesn't mean that they don't have the capability to be a person that you can trust, a person that you can actually marry, and a person that you can build a lifelong relationship and marriage with, and then even generational wealth. People can be at certain situations and places in life at this point in time, but that doesn't mean that they're always going to stay there. That doesn't mean that things won't change for them in the future, and then you may actually be the guiding light to them actually getting better in terms of their finances. All right, so don't get my words twisted. I definitely think you should have qualifications when you're actually dating a person. And if you're looking for a person to make a certain amount of money, that's your prerogative. It's your thing. You can do what you want. But in a lot of cases, I think it's probably best that you actually do what a job would do when they're trying to hire somebody is they do their own background check to see, where did this person actually work at and what did he do in the past? Why is he where he's at right now? And can he actually elevate and move up and do better? And our job that we have for him will help him to actually level up and start doing a little bit better for himself. And that he's trying to leave, his old job that doesn't pay as much to get this new job with us that's going to actually be better and beneficial for them. So, in the same way, if you're in a relationship, you should look at getting to know the person's background, where they come from, why they're at the state that they're at financially, and why they make the type of money that they actually make. It could be that in their past they were locked up, and if they were locked up, they didn't have a whole lot of opportunity to do things. So this is probably why they're at the state that they're at in their life at this given point in time. Then it could be that they possibly maybe were injured or something happened to them. Maybe they're recently getting out of a bad relationship or something like that, or a bad marriage or something. There, things just went bad, and now they're at a bad state financially. So you never know why people are in the situations that they're in, but this is why getting to know them will help you to know why they're in the situations that there are. But in terms of things that you should actually look for, I would definitely say that a lot of people could be in different states in life and financially, but that doesn't mean that they're not a good person to actually date or actually be with. So in terms of males, if you're looking at dating a guy and you're trying to figure out, why he's financially in certain situations, you should look at these type of things and see if he's able to build on them. In terms of transportation, it may not be that he has a car at the moment. Maybe something happened. Maybe he lost his car. Maybe he wasn't able to make his car payments, and so he lost his car. Maybe his car got in an accident, and now he's saving up to get another one. But you can look at things like, hey, does he have a bus pass? Does he catch the train? Or, he rides a bike. He has a way to actually get to work and get to places, meet up with me on dates. So if he's doing that and then he's working on, getting him another car or whatnot, or working on getting his license off of suspension, then this is something that you can possibly work with. In terms of where he lives, or if he has a house, or if he's renting, or if he's staying with other people, I think you want to look in to see, is he actually putting money up, meaning that he's actually paying on the rent, he's actually putting something towards the place that he actually is at. Because if he is, then eventually, maybe if you guys get married, move in with each other, then he can help you out with the rent or help you out with the mortgage. So you want to look into that to say, hey, okay, maybe this works better for him. He's saving up so he can get a house or something like that, or so that he can get himself into a better place. So if he's not paying anything, then this is, one of those where you may say, hey, maybe I can hold off on this. Then in terms of job, if he's actually working a job and he has the ability to possibly move up and move into a better position, this is something that is actually a good thing, because not everyone starts off at the top, and then it's hard sometimes to actually move up. But if a guy is actually working and he's consistently working, then eventually maybe he can, with your help, possibly think about doing something else better, and he can move on to something else better. And then also too, what he has in terms of his ambitions. Maybe he wants to open his own business at some point in time, but he just doesn't have enough money to do so. Then last but not least, you can look into in terms of how many kids he may or may not have, and if he's paying child support and things like that, and he's getting drained by child support. So this is something where, you can maybe look past it and say, oh, okay, this is why he's at the financial state that he's at, because he's paying so much money in child support and he's trying to be the best father for his kids. Now, this may not be the case for the guy that you may be talking to, but that's why you do your background check on him. Okay, so definitely another thing you can definitely do is to see the follow-up. And what I mean by that is oftentimes a guy's going to say whatever he needs to say to basically get you where he wants, or to get you to actually start liking him. So if you say, oh, you know what, I don't like strawberries, he'd be like, oh, well, I used to like strawberries, but I'm going to stop eating them because you don't like them. Or you may say, hey, you know what, I want to wait, and he may have been telling you that, hey, I got to, taste that before, or, hit that before we move forward. And then he changes it up when you tell him, like, hey, I'm waiting for marriage or whatnot. So if you find yourself in that situation where a lot of the stuff, he says one thing and then he changes it when you say another thing, to basically him trying to get in on your good side, then you can definitely wait things out and see if this person does actually do these things. Time is a great teller of people. The longer you wait on things and you stick around and you look and see if things are moving in a certain type of way, then you're able to pick these things out and say, oh, okay, you know what? He was saying that, but really he's not down with that. Or he was saying this, but he's really not about that. So you can definitely figure this person out by these type of things. Now, one of the things that I would often say would definitely be the big key in terms of how this person may or may not improve is to know what type of religion or belief that he actually has. When you know that, and if it aligns up to what yours actually is or whatever you actually do, then this will give you a better understanding of what type of person you're going to actually deal with. And then this also too, let's just say, for instance, if you're a church-going person, you go to church, they go to church, then you can actually take your time to actually figure them out. This is why I would always suggest people, find people actually in the church, because then you can kind of test the waters with them to see if they're going to show themselves approved. Because then you can sit there and you don't have to actually date them, and you can still get to know them and then see how their lifestyle actually is and how they go about living their lives. They can tell you a lot of things, but eventually if you're going to church with them enough and you're in different groups with them at the church, you will start to see things unravel with them to let you know that, hey, you know what, this brother and sister was actually lying and they weren't actually telling the truth. But like I said before, time would definitely let you know these things. So this is why it's important too that you take your time and you wait things out. And then you don't have to actually, lock yourself down with the person. You can just get to know them. And once you get to know them, this will let you know whether or not this is a person to go on with, and this is a person that things can possibly get better in the future, and that's someone you can actually possibly be with. Or it could be on the other hand, and you say, you know what, like Maya, I'm moving on. This ain't the one for me. All right, this has been another Tougher Together Tuesday. Now, one of the things that also too affects a lot of guys as far as them making a lot more money is oftentimes a boss or supervisor at a lot of jobs, they will prefer to move a female up than a male. And this is not depending on what kind of work it actually is that you guys actually do. And that's because it's better to look at a female than it is looking at another male. So if you have a female and she looks kind of all right, you know, she kind of sexy, you'll rather look at her. So you'll move her up. And then with the guy, you'll just keep him in a lower position because you don't want to have to deal with him and having to look at him every day. He's not something nice to actually look at, unless I guess they play for the other team. So oftentimes a lot of males are in lower positions because sometimes the people higher up only like moving up females. Then a lot more females have a lot more education than a lot more males. A lot of males are trying to get it as quickly as they can, so they decide to actually skip out on actually going to school. But as always, two is better than one if two function as one. So stay together.